Abu, welcome back to the Global Summit.
Thank you, Michael. It's a privilege to be here.
Yeah, it's been a few years since you've been here. Yes, when was the last time you were here with us?
Yeah, I remember a couple of years now. There was a gap after COVID 2020.
Okay.
I was here last 2018.
2018?
Yes.
So it's been 7 years. Wow.
I think, yeah.
Well, that is a long. Yeah. I was thinking it was just a couple of years, but nevertheless, 7 years has gone by quickly.
Yeah, quickly. Even now, I was trying to recalculate that. I didn't knew that was the long gap. Maybe.
Yeah. But you've been with these ideas and wrestling with how to implement the book of Acts or this paradigm, the way of Christ and his apostles, back into your field of work. So tell us how you first got involved in this.
Yeah, I would say that's a long story, but to be short here, I would remember this way back a couple of years before 2020, I would say before COVID. I was introduced to a larger network in India, and through that I was introduced about, First Principle series. That's what we started with. So
you started with?
Yeah, that's how I started with. I didn't knew that there is, again, the leadership level courses and all the stuff going on. So we were concerned about that stage, training pastors and leaders. So we started with First Principles using 2 to 3 years down the line. And later, I remember Jeffrey introduced the leadership programs like Acts and Pauline and all those stuff. And then eventually it unfolded about the theological higher education and all that stuff. So that's how a couple of years it took now for me, even before COVID, to understand, starting from First Principle series to leadership courses. Then you have all the set of teachings that comes along with that.
So when did you realize... So you said it was before 2020. So
2020,
it was but it was way before 2020,
way
right?
Before, around
2008
or 10, I guess.
Okay, so 2008, 2010, you are introduced from a larger network to the First Principles. How long did you...
3 years we worked on that.
3 years?
Yeah, consequently, continuously. We were around 600 to 700 pastoral leaders that time.
Okay.
Enrolled in the First Principle series.
Wow.
Yeah, that in those days it was like we were having all the papers, we were having all the profiles mapped up and things like that. So it took 6 months for us even to prepare for that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, covering 5 to 6 states in North India.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you lived in North India at that time?
Yes, yeah, very well. Because I moved early on to Delhi before getting saved for my studies.
Okay.
So when I moved here, that's how in New Delhi city, I was there for my commerce studies. And during my studies, I got saved. And later I had a license call upon my life for North India. So I committed, and then I continued to be there in the city.
Wow. So back us up from that then.
Yes,
when
did
you...
I came here in 1996.
1996 to Delhi.
Yeah, after my high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a long time. And later, after 2 years of time, I got saved.
Yeah.
And that's how my story started. So at the age of 19, I got saved. At the age of 22, I started serving Lord in a small level, assisting my pastor in the local church.
Okay.
So that's my journey. And then until I got married in 2004, my wife joined me. She's from Himachal, North India.
Okay.
So she realized the call upon my life, and she was committed for mission work, God's call. So we both committed ourselves, and from then onwards, we are in the city.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were yoked together with a woman who multiplied the stewardship that you had to. And she's sitting in the room with us. But we can't see her right now. But
yes.
And we've had some good times together through the years. You have 3 children. I remember going to.
Yes, they were, when you came, Michael, first time, they were younger, of course.
They were a lot
younger.
They were like this tall.
Yes. Now they're grown up. And the middle one, she has even crossed her mom. My eldest, she is 19 plus now.
Okay.
She graduated from high school. The middle one, she's just turned 18, so she's graduating this year. And the youngest are 10 years, so she just crossed 10 actually. She's in the 5th grade. So
Yeah. Okay.
we have 3 daughters.
Yeah, I remember in 2015 or 2014, maybe 2016, some of those years of when I first first met you and
we as a family. Yeah.
I think I had a sock problem in those days.
Yeah, we remember that, and we had meals together at home, and then I remember that we were receiving you somewhere in the AeroCity airport.
Oh yeah.
And we were trying to fetch some things that you really wanted, and then
forgotten.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, people probably don't want to hear about our journeys of getting socks. So tell us, through these years, why are you convicted about the patterns of Acts? Why? In the beginning, it was maybe just a curriculum, just a set of resources that gets you back to the Bible. But there are thousands of that out there.
Of course. Yeah.
Why are you back in 2025? Why are you committed to this set of patterns?
Yeah. That's the right thing to ask, because there are so many things going on. Like, people tend to pick up and then drop down. Is on and on it happens, but not so with TWCA. I mean, Way of Christ and Apostles, and the paradigm issues that we struggle with. I want to say that these are the things which are really pulling us back. When we started way back, that was just an imminent need of training pastoral leaders for discipleship and for church growth and multiplication and all sort of things. But once we realize that, once we start with first principles or early on with the discipleship process, we won't end there. But those are now eventually getting trained as a pastoral leaders or a future house church leaders. And then on and on it goes. So then that's where we realize that it's a comprehensive layout, apostolic team, in the sense, like, right from the discipleship, and you go to the hierarchical level where you ordain leaders, you train leaders, and you entrust them so that they hand over the church, and the church multiplies another church, and the clusters and hubs eventually get born out of that. They get birth out of that. So then realize that it is a lifelong, and this is something to do with, like, couple of years it would take. So then we realized that, yes, it is lifelong. As Jeffrey was often telling, you guys will be lifelong learners. So we thought, like, he means that, okay, it's about curriculum or maybe books it will take long time to learn. But he was not intending that, but he was intending something beyond. So what makes me to come back again or to get hold of these concepts is, like, we saw early on that since I come from India, so in India we have, like, on-ramp programs where, like, you have short-term programs, like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, kind of things, like. But we saw that they hit the saturation point and then they don't go beyond.
Okay.
And then you need to look for another curriculum or a material for another set of competencies. Then you look for another set of competencies. Then that's where the hunt goes on. But not so with here, with the BILL program or with DWCA program that we have here. It's all laid out in a very systematic way, and it takes full long to go through. So that's the reason we came back.
Okay. So you really, what you're articulating is that it maybe in the beginning was just a set of first principles and a set of books and maybe just a program or two for grassroots. Then you realized it's for leaders.
Leaders, yeah.
But the other thing you realized at some point too, you're saying, was churches, you thought it was just a thing for simple churches, but then you threw in there clusters and hubs and how it's
because they all
birthing, you said.
Yes.
How the other churches are supposed to be birthed out of that, just like you and your wife had 3 girls and are expanding your family, and they will expand from there in the same way our churches are to birth other churches.
Exactly.
So pick us up then. That's why you're here. That's why you're committed, because it's, and the lifelong piece.
Yes, that's a lifelong. Yeah,
It's
lifelong.
not a graduation point. It's because you're actually here doing some of your residency, which is part of the doctorate
Yes, program,
Antioch School pathway. But tell us about what's gone on the last I guess it's been 5 years since you've been here. But I saw you in I think 2 years ago.
Completing my Master Craftsman doctoral program,
Yeah, so
CBT. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us what's happened in the last year, 2 years that you can highlight for us.
Yes, as we know, in the larger network, and early on, we had an understanding of we have two streams or we can say two sects going parallelly.
Okay.
One is like the pastoral leaders who are on the ministry oriented.
Okay.
At the same time, we have another set of pastoral leaders who are ministry oriented, but at the same time, they want something more stronger academic, or they want to go with developing their own curriculums, or they want to develop their own discipleship materials, and in the long term, some of those goals are there. So that means there is something to do with a comprehensive development of lifelong lessons, and also the academic things come in place. So we realize that yes, Antioch does the job perfect for them. And whereas the church-based theological education, CBTA, synod, we have that. So for the ministerial sector, that's enough. That does the job perfect. I mean, that's more pragmatic. So then that's how we realize that yes, that means we parallelly have two sectors going along. So that means how to do about this. So the thing is, first I need to complete one, then before I move to other. So eventually I thought CBT will be the priority because we have more leaders in practicum side, because they are all lay leaders and they are trained to be in the field. We cannot uproot them. So CBT perfect for them. It works for them perfect. So that's how Pauline system works. I mean, that's what is TWCA. Like you are training an apostolic model where Paul raised Timothy in the ministry, in the service, not of the service. So CBT is a Master Craftsman program which was developed. So I completed that. But eventually I was also enrolled for Antioch. So Antioch was not priority before that. So the question when you asked what happened last 2-3 years, my priority slightly shifted. Not that Antioch was not important, but again the priority wise I would say CBT was my primary goal because large number of leaders were in that program. So I am the leader for them, so I need to set an example. So I mean, I need to first graduate and complete my own work before I motivate them or inspire them. And I see that my completion would be certainly an example for them, an inspiration for them.
Yeah, beautiful. So you're going to be here a couple days longer than the summit, right? For the for that
residences.
Reason.
Yeah. For the reason of residences, I need to go beyond. So now I'm in the second journey of my Antioch program studies.
Yeah, excellent. So one more question for you. Talk to us about the days ahead. What does the work look like? Give us a framework for, because I know that you've taken a lot of little-known networks. You can put your arms around, so to speak, a lot of grassroots. I mean, that goes back to 15 years ago.
15 years ago, yeah.
Are those still within view, and what does that look like as the days? Talk to us about the future. Give us a scope of what the future looks like.
I started with small numbers like 20 to 30. Eventually it grew to 110, something like that, around 110. But now it has grown little further more. But if I still stick to that original number, 110, that still exists, and those are spread in 5 to 7, it's roughly 5, I could say. 7 is the big number, I mean like North India.
Of states?
Covering North Indian belt, the Hindi-speaking people groups, you say majorly Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Punjab, and all these places. So they are actually 7, but we are more into 5, I would say, 5 states.
Okay.
So 110, little known, or we can say known to man, known to God, but no unknown to man. So they are not much significant, but though they are doing significant work, they are like natives. The small networks, say around 30 to 40 churches or pastors associated in one single ministry. So that comprises, you can have an idea of 110, a multiplication of these 100.
So you're saying, what you're saying is you have 110 that are little known networks or native networks, but there may be 10 or 20 or 30 even inside
within
of that.
each, within each ministry.
You could multiply 110 by 20 and
yeah.
But then how does your training or development or investment into them, what does that look like in the days ahead?
Yes.
What does that look like?
Within this, as you asked before, even now, I can reflect on those numbers. What we did is, initially Jeff helped me to constitute, Jeff and Steve also helped me to constitute a apostolic team cohort.
Okay, so a leadership team or an apostolic team for the 110?
Yes, 110. So we were around 25 of them. So we also included some of other trainers or field coordinators. So that was a number more or less around 30. So we were in one cohort. So this cohort was enrolled for both CBTE, simultaneously they graduate, work good, so they will also move to Antioch. Okay. They also move to Antioch.
So that group of 30, then you anticipate, as they would have been developed, then they would go out and help with the 110.
Yeah. They were exactly the spearhead group who are also responsible for doing First Principles series down the line for all pastoral leaders. Okay. And also carry on the leadership courses like Acts, Pauline, Sound Doctrines, and Ascensions, and all that.
So you're bringing that back?
Obviously, yes.
Okay.
Obviously. Yeah.
I got confused whether I was talking about the past or the future, but you're talking about that part of that was in the past, but part of that you're...
Yes, that's again the future, because in between some of them are dropped because of the COVID, and there are many other fluctuations happen in the ministry, and some geographically moved from one district to another due to some personal and the political reasons or the geographical reasons. They had to relocate, as you know, current situation.
Yeah.
So they need to navigate through the political and the geographical pressures. So those things are there in place. But at the same time, people are there, ministries are there, and they still exist, and they continue with the program. And the same passion and the same commitment for the TWCA or CBTE, the apostolic mandate is still there. So the future is again to be with them, to continue with them, and to take them further wherever they are, like stuck or they are moving a bit slow.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to take them forward with our coach. We have Bill Coach, we have James, and we have Steve and Bill Burns. So we have good people, blessed.
Last time you were here, your wife and you stayed with James, I believe, right?
He's a wonderful.
And now he's your coach.
Passionate, man of God. I never realized that, but later he not only hosts, but now he's also a coach for us. For our leaders.
and he'll really be able to really help with with forming that team, getting that team back of 30 or however many it is today. But that when you look at the Book of Acts, as you know, it's just you've got local teams that shepherd and lead the churches. Yeah. But then as a network, you have teams of people that move amongst the network. And that's what that team of 30 is.
Yeah.
And
that is exactly the sodal model what has been advocated. So we have like inside working leaders and outside working leaders, and that has to be simultaneously happening all together.
Yeah.
So that's the pattern that we are following.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, it's great to have you back. I didn't realize it's been so many years since you've been here at the Global Summit, but it's great to have you back at the Global Summit.
Yes,
glad you can stay here with our families.
Yes, it is a privilege, not only participating, but also equally hearing all other leaders, what they're doing and what's happening and how they're navigating with the changes all across happening within their civilizations or within their communities.
Yeah.
It's again inspiring for me to see, like, yes, we have some common challenges and difficulties, but nonetheless, like me, they're all also sticking to that same calling and to that same passion. The apostolic mandate is still going on.
That's awesome. It's encouraging. I'm looking forward to the days ahead.
Yes.
And the last 5 days have been impactful, but just wait for the next 4 days.
Yes.
The next 4 days are going to be
more is going to be unfolded. Yeah, I understand. I see that. I'm looking forward to that. And thank you, Michael, and thank you, team, for having me here.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Absolutely.